I'm Larry Sommerfeld, and this is the Lemonade Car Show. Tonight we're talking to OMVIC's Terry O'Keefe, as well as answering all of your car questions. Lemonade is brought to you by OMVIC. That's Ontario's vehicle sales regulator, and we're produced by the Automobile Protection Association. The APA fights for you, the consumer, and provides information and news on all parts of the industry. Visit our website at apa.ca or reach us by phone at 416-204-1444. Joining me today is George Iny. He's the president of the APA, and Terry O'Keefe. He's the director of communications for OMVIC. We'll be taking your calls this evening at 800-968-7836. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Terry, it's nice to have you back.
Thank you.
I want all the dirt. I want the stories on what bad things people are doing in this industry, because OMVIC catches the bad guys, and there's a lot of them.
You want to talk about on the private seller side or on the dealer side?
We have 10 minutes. We can do all of it.
Well, I think just something that happened yesterday. We had a curbsider, an illegal, unlicensed dealer. The gentleman's name is Miranda Meany. We've talked about him before. This is the gentleman who we charged and convicted for importing 42 pickup trucks from Alberta, late model but high mileage. He spun the odometer back and sold them to unsuspecting consumers. As a result of that, he and his company were fined $393,000. Within 2 months, we had charged him for selling 30 more vehicles, and he was convicted on that. And he was sentenced in January. He got 450 days in jail. But believe it or not, we actually charged him a third time, because after the first two charges we laid against him, he decided to change things up. So instead of bringing vehicles to Ontario, he decided he would buy those vehicles here and then ship them to Manitoba and Alberta and roll the odometers there and sell them to them. And so we charged him again for acting as an illegal dealer. And yesterday, he was sentenced to an additional 300 days in jail. So he's actually got a consecutive 750-day jail sentence he's serving right now.
So has he paid these fines? Has he gone to jail?
Oh, he's in jail. He's in jail.
Oh, he is? Okay.
He actually, he appealed the first conviction and the fines. That's still before the courts. And he's appealed his second conviction. And of course, he requested bail pending his appeal. And believe it or not, his bail request was denied. And he is now incarcerated and serving his sentence.
I am surprised, and I'm glad. You use the term unsuspecting consumers. I know, George, consumers have a responsibility in this end of the equation when they're buying vehicles. Like, it's not all on Terry's shoulders.
Blame the victim.
No, I'm asking consumers to step up and at least be responsible for some basic stuff when, too good to be true and things like that. It can't all fall to, what do I do? I got ripped off again. But people can be kind of dumb sometimes. What are some basic things they should be looking at?
I would say not so much dumb as afraid to lose a deal. That makes you a little bit emotional, maybe not thinking with all of your marbles. So the first thing is the price is so low. You've done a sort using one of the websites like Auto Trader that will do that for you, and you're looking for a vehicle that's $3,000 below everybody else's. So you're just afraid to lose it. It makes you a bit crazy. You're not thinking.
So people run to something instead of away from something. Like, it's not even.
Well, it's a fear of losing a deal. A bit of you think you might have found like something really special because of some story you were told. I'd say one of the better pieces of protections you can do is to ask for the used vehicle information package. So that will tell you the names of the previous owners. It'll tell you if the vehicle is salvage, right? If it was rebuilt?
Yes.
It should. I don't actually think it has branding information, but you're right, previous owners, and it provides historical odometer information. If you've ever wondered what happens when you report to Service Ontario when you renew your sticker or your plates and you get your sticker and they ask for your odometer, that information is going on the used vehicle information package George is talking about.
So it's going up as it should, and all of a sudden it goes back.
But in the case of Mr. Amini,
I love gentlemen and Mr. and all this. Like, you're so polite.
In the case of Mr. Amini, he brought these vehicles from Alberta. So there is no Ontario history. There would be no historical odometer information on the UVIP.
Would it say they came from Alberta?
No, it would simply show that this 2011 vehicle wasn't registered in Ontario until 2015.
So the person selling it to you then, if they say it's my personal vehicle and I bought it almost new or I've had it for a few years, you'd be tipped off to know that there are mistakes in the story. An original owner also will almost always have the original bill of sale from a dealer. That typically they will have. The curbsider will usually say, how long have you owned it? About. They're never really exact. they're a bit fishy, or they're selling it for their girlfriend's mother or their girlfriend's stepdaughter, or it's not their vehicle, and the relative kind of shifts a bit. And if you were actually paying attention, you'd say a person would probably know, if they weren't buying and selling cars all the time, probably know how long they've owned it. They'd remember that.
No, that's a really good point, George. Curbsiders commonly, not always, but commonly, the vehicle's not in their name, and they'll have the kinds of excuses that George is talking about. And they do it simply so you can't find them after the sale. You'll have no record of who you actually bought that vehicle from because it was never registered in their name. So that is a huge red flag. Or the vehicle is registered in their name, but it's only been in their name for 2 or 3 months.
So they're flipping it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. But if there's no history for this vehicle, then walk away. No?
Or there should better be a good explanation. Maybe the family moved from Alberta, and it is legitimately their car that they brought from Alberta and registered here. But as George said, well, ask to see the contract from when they bought it, when they lived in Calgary. Yeah. But you do have to take those steps. But we're even seeing curbsiders, they know that historical odometer information is on the UVIP. So what they will do, and it's up, and the Highway Traffic Act requires a private seller to provide the UVIP to the purchaser. So what they often might do is take that UVIP, they've went out and bought it like they're supposed to, scan it into the computer, use Photoshop to remove the odometer information, print it back out, and here you go. And if the consumer who's buying it doesn't know that the UVIP is supposed to have historical odometer information, they'll never know.
They're not gonna know.
So Lorraine, if you're dealing with that level of deception, as a private individual who might buy a car once every 7 or 8 years, you're a bit overmatched. It can be tricky. The other issue is that we've seen sometimes you think you are buying from a dealer because it looks like a business. Could be a body shop.
But we've talked about looking for certified dealers.
But another good point that George raises, more and more we're seeing curbsiders who traditionally always posed as a private seller now operating from small businesses. So they look like a little dealership when in fact they're not. So there's 2 things that you can do. Go to OMVIC's website and search the business name. If they're a registered dealer, it'll be there. Even easier, simply say, can I see your OMVIC license? All dealers and salespeople must be licensed by OMVIC and must carry it on their person.
What does it look like?
It's either a yellow and white or blue and white card. If I'd known we were going to talk about it, I would have brought one to show you. But it'll clearly say OMVIC registration certificate on it. It would fit in their wallet, and they have to show it to you if you ask to see it. If they can't, walk away and report them to OMVIC.
Because all this protection and coverage that OMVIC brings to the marketplace, which is substantial, if you don't buy from somebody who is under your umbrella, then you're not going to have access to all the resources that you can bring to bear.
OMVIC will still be interested in your complaint.
Yes.
But you won't have comp fund. You won't have the mediation. Probably wouldn't work for you.
That's absolutely right. We can investigate and prosecute the curbsider, but we aren't able to help that consumer get back their money.
Okay. Now, when you mentioned the comp fund, can you explain that to viewers a little bit? What that is?
Every dealership in Ontario pays money into the Motor Vehicle Dealers Compensation Fund.
Those are like the travel industry. Okay. You know, if your travel agents go bust or your plane is stranded somewhere overseas, bring you home.
And so if a consumer suffers a financial loss as a result of a trade, that's the language in the Act, with a registered dealer, they can file a claim with the compensation fund, and the fund will pay up to $45,000 per claim. For example, you're a dealer, and I go in tonight and I give you a $1,000 deposit on a vehicle. You say, Terry, come pick up the car on Saturday. And I go Saturday to pick up the car, and you're gone. Your business has failed, unfortunately. Well, because I dealt with a registered dealer, I can file my claim with the compensation fund to get my $1,000 back. If you purchased a vehicle from a registered dealer and it had a rollback odometer, it happens so rarely. I won't say it never happens, but it's not common. Registered dealers, if they sold vehicles with rollback odometers, the penalties they'd be out of business, most likely. But if you did buy a car from a registered dealer with a rollback odometer, the consumer's automatically entitled to rescission, to cancel that contract. But let's say the dealership has gone out of business in the meantime, and who am I going to get my money back from? I can't rescind this contract, the dealership's gone. You could apply the compensation fund, and they would take care of that consumer.
So making sure that you are working with somebody who is registered with OMVIC, which is basically everyone at your big deal, people that aren't kicking curbs. And you will have access to this compensation fund and somebody to fight on your side without going to find lawyers and all the rest of it. So we're going to talk some more about that when we come back. The Lemonade Car Show, brought to you by OMVIC, Ontario's motor vehicle sales regulator, returns after this short break. When we come back, we'll be taking your calls, 800-968-7836.